Studio 31.
You're watching KSHB 41 News on 38 The Spot.
It is just about time for Madness games to start in about 4 hours with Kansas and Mizzou playing early this afternoon. We'll hear from both teams. An merger could mean more trains in the Kansas City area. We hear concerns about the situation even before the potential addition.
Spectrum has plans to expand internet across Missouri. We'll explain what it means here in the Metro.
All right, Charlie Keegan, thank you. And good morning, everyone. I'm Rae Daniel. Welcome to KSHB 41 News today on 38 The Spot. Thanks so much for watching, whether that's on your TV, your favorite streaming device. We're happy you're joining us this morning. Let's get over to meteorologist Lindsay Anderson. Lindsay, lots of things happening pretty much every hour you had mentioned.
I know, like, honestly, every hour is different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those, if you don't like the weather now, wait 5 minutes.
Right.
It's one of those days. Okay, so we've got some rain that we're going to be talking about this morning. Some mild temperatures also running in those 50s. The huge change happening by lunchtime. So I guess enjoy these spring-like temperatures this morning before it really goes away. We're talking about these light sprinkles here in the 435 loop, a little bit more steady out west, close to Topeka, Holton, Atchison County, Kansas. This should be moving in within the next hour or so. It's tapping into that mild air, 53 downtown, 51 at KCI and Lee Summit. I have us approaching 60 degrees today before the front sweeps through. After that, temperatures come crashing down. In fact, we're going to be close to freezing by the dinner hour, and that would transition any moisture around to some light snow for a couple of hours. We've got to monitor that. We'll have details on the timing on our futurecast. That's next. Deja, what's going on the roads out there this morning?
Well, we do have a reported vehicle fire this morning. We do have a reported vehicle fire. Check. Reported vehicle fires on the Kansas side. Situate what's going on in the back.
Okay, Deja, thank you. She mentioned there's a reported vehicle fire, so we'll get to Deja in just a moment. Well, in about 4 hours, the 2023 NCAA men's basketball tournament will tip off, and we have 3 local teams that will be competing for the championship, including the defending national champs, the Kansas Jayhawks. Our coverage spans from coast to coast, from Sacramento to Greensboro, which is about 2,700 miles. Our first stop is in Des Moines, Iowa. KSHB 41 News reporter Abby Dodge shows us what the Jayhawks are focused on heading into the game 1.
The last few days, the focus has been on Bill Self and his health. The team says that his involvement is still day-to-day. Self wasn't out on the hardwood with the team for open practice Wednesday. Players say that he's been active in their closed practices here in town. Coach Roberts says Self got onto the guys pretty good on Wednesday at closed practice. Still no determination on if we'll see him suit up with the team later today. There have been some comparisons made between last year's championship team and the team playing this year. The team motto, faces change, expectations don't, applies here.
What we've talked about is staying in the moment and playing for now. This is a different team. What we accomplished last year was fantastic. We enjoy it. We're honored by it, but we also understand it's a whole new situation.
Tip-off is at 1 p.m. here in Des Moines. We'll have post-game coverage from fans, players, and coaches all starting at 4 o'clock. From Des Moines, Abby Dodge, KSHB 41 News.
All right, Abby, thank you. The 7th-seeded Mizzou Tigers will also tip off today around the same time as the Jayhawks. They'll be taking on Utah State Aggies in Sacramento at 12:40. This is the Tigers' first return to the tournament in 3 years. Meanwhile, the K-State Wildcats arrived in Greensboro yesterday. They'll have one more day of practice today before taking on Montana State tomorrow. They tip off around 8:40 Friday night. We are following all 3 of our teams closely, including the latest with Jayhawks head coach Bill Self. Be sure to download our app for push alerts on the latest news, scores, and more as the tournament continues. Well, if you live in Jackson County and own a home, you can expect significant increases in property values this year. The Director of Assessment said the increase is, quote, no secret. Back in 2021, they predicted assessments would be higher in 2023 in an effort to bring values to where the assessment office believes they should be. Now, if you remember, Jackson County homeowners also saw skyrocketing values back in 2019, 70% higher than any other Missouri county. More than 15,000 homeowners appealed at that time. and analysts then predicted another increase this year. The director of assessment says they're estimating a 30% increase this year. She's asking people not to panic. They're still assessing values and encouraging people to come to the community meetings. The director reminded people that values are not only part of the equation that determines the taxes you pay.
We, in fact, only do determine fair market value. It is the responsibility of your elected boards of taxing jurisdictions, such as your libraries, your schools, your cities, and fire districts, that actually set tax rates. These tax rates are based on revenue in order to be able to meet their budgetary obligations.
This year, the office is also partnering with local brokers to help fill out the paperwork for an appeal. Homeowners can expect a notice of their assessment next month. The assessor's office also plans to hold its first community meeting on March 22nd. Well, internet companies are working to expand broadband access. Some areas, as south of KC, have little or no service. KSHB 41 News reporter Charlie Keegan joins us with information on where companies are putting their resources. Charlie, good morning.
Ray, good morning to you. Spectrum, in particular, is putting a lot of its resources on expanding in the Missouri side of the metropolitan area. It's in year 2 of a multi-year expansion project. Let's put up on your screen some of the things they were able to accomplish in year 1. And I know on your screen it mentions strictly just a few counties around our area, but those numbers are actually statewide numbers. More than 700 miles of fiber optic cable, more than 31,000 new businesses and homes able to sign up with Spectrum. And when we say sign up, we're signing up for high-speed internet between 300 megabits per second to 1,000 megabits per second on those speeds. When you see the national average is closer to 100 megabits per second.
Having access to high-speed broadband is really critical and important, and we have customers that are so excited that we're coming into their communities because they haven't had it before.
While we talk about Spectrum expanding, we can also talk about Comcast expanding. Last year, it launched a whole big project in Spring Hill, Kansas. And Ray, Spring Hill in particular, at one point was ranked as the 3rd worst internet speeds in rural America.
Yeah, Charlie, I remember you doing a story about that. So what if someone is struggling to pay for internet? What options do they have?
President Biden and his staff there at the White House have beefed up something called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it gives low-income households basically a $30 monthly coupon to pay for high-speed internet. Several providers like Spectrum, like Comcast, like AT&T, well, they offer a program for exactly $30, basically making internet free for those qualifying families.
All right, Charlie Keegan, thank you so much for that update. A railroad merger could mean more trains rolling through parts of the area. Wednesday, federal regulators approved Canadian Pacific's $31 billion acquisition of Kansas City Southern. Regulators say there will be 12 more trains a day between Kansas City and Beaumont, Texas. It means people living nearby, like a neighborhood in Grandview, can expect an increase in noise. As for the traffic, the Surface Transportation Board says it will add only seconds to the average delay when a crossing is blocked. We heard from a neighbor.
So in the morning, usually anywhere between 5 and 7, there's a train that comes through almost every morning. He hits the horn about halfway down the park and just lays on it all the way through because there's no crossing guard here. So it's just loud all the way through it, and it wakes up everybody right through here.
Well, the move will create the only railroad linking Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. The merger is expected to add about 800 new union jobs and can change the way goods are shipped. About 64,000 truckloads will move from the roads to the railroad. Let's get over to anchor Deja Jones. Deja, you're following a vehicle fire right now?
Yes, I am following a vehicle fire on the Kansas side of I-435, specifically northbound past Parallel Parkway. You'll notice the flashing lights, but we're not seeing any smoke, we're not seeing any flames, and we haven't gotten any reports of any major injuries or anything like that. So far, it's not caused us any major issues. There might be a little bit of a delay if you're traveling in this direction. You've got some folks that are probably looking over to see what's going on, but it's really looking to be off to that far right-hand side. Otherwise, we've got a couple of stalled vehicles out there this morning. You'll notice some icons on our map representing where those could be. And if you're going into downtown, I wanted to show you our drive times. You can see we are shaping up beautifully. We're in the green. Everything is moving along smoothly. 13 minutes for Liberty. Olathe is at 21 minutes, and then only a 17-minute commute for Blue Springs. Ray?
Thanks, Deja. Kansas City is on the clock. We're now just 6 weeks or 42 days away from the 2023 NFL Draft happening in our city. The draft will take over the area surrounding Union Station and the National World War I Museum and Memorial. Here's the renderings of organizers will transform that area to make the draft stage. And this morning, you can register to attend the NFL Draft. It's free to attend the events during that 3-day stretch through April 27th through the 29th. The NFL Draft experience will include an interactive football theme park on the south side of the World War I Museum, as well as KC area vendors and an autograph stage. And you'll be able to watch the draft from the north lawn of the museum. That area will be first come, first served. We put more details and the link to register over on our website at KSHB.com. Well, KSHB 41 is your home of the World Champion Chiefs, and a few of those Super Bowl winners have left Kansas City. We told you yesterday free agency started Wednesday afternoon, and a flurry of headlines late yesterday. Reports from ESPN and the NFL Network show wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, safety Juan Thornhill, defensive lineman Kalen Saunders, and O-lineman Orlando Brown Jr. have signed deals with other teams. The Brown deal is notable as NFL Network reporter Tom Pelissero reports Brown's signing bonus of roughly $31 million is the largest ever for an offensive lineman. Those deals are on top of the signing we told you about yesterday. Offensive lineman Andrew Wiley is headed to Washington, and add-in Frank Clark's departure announced last week. There are big names, big changes for the Chiefs. Some additions as well. The Chiefs tweeted these photos last night of offensive lineman Juwan Taylor and defensive end Charles Omene Ahu as stepping off the plane in Kansas City. Lots of names, lots of deals, and we have it all broken down in the Chiefs section of KSHB.com. And remember, KSHB 41 is the home of the Chiefs. The latest inflation report showed prices are 6% higher than a year ago. So how are things going for farmers? We head to Harrisonville, coming up next.
25 words or less.
I'm going to go with hash browns. And I'd also like an order of hash browns.
Watch weekdays at 2 on 38 The Spot.
She wrecked my car. But that's okay. Accidents happen. Her dog threw up on my couch. But we all know accidents do happen. She left the burner on the stove and burned down the house. But oh Lord, I know, accidents happen. But then she hooked up with my best friend and got pregnant. That's an accident that shouldn't have happened. Time for divorce court.
Watch weekdays at 11 on 38 The Spot.
Had enough? No, arthritis. Here, Aspirin arthritis. Huh. Full prescription strength. Reduces inflammation. Thank the gods. Don't thank them too soon.
Kick pain in the Aspirin.
So many games, so many teams.
So many decisions. Decide to decide less.
Who are you?
Basketball decisions are hard. Betting popular parlays on FanDuel is not. Now you can see what parlays fans are already betting. Hop on the bandwagon, bet against the bandwagon, make your own wagon. It's an easy decision. And you know who decided it? You.
New customers 10 times your first bet. Just bet $20 and get $200 in bonus bets.
Hey class, this is Lily.
When you see things differently, you can be the difference.
Welcome.
Capella University looks at education differently. Our FlexPath learning format helps you control the pace and cost of your master's degree. Make your difference with Capella University.
Who wrote the book of luck?
This is the story of the man who dreamed in numbers, like his first jersey number, his girlfriend's phone number, old math tests and locker combinations. Then one day, all his numbers made sense. Lotto America, 3 drawings a week, jackpot starting at $2 million. Now he dreams in bigger numbers. Write your story with the Kansas Lottery.
We wrote the book of luck.
KC Home Improvement Specialist features Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Shamrock Roofing and Construction, your #1 choice with 40 years of experience. One call does it all. For more expert KC Home Improvement companies, go to kshb.com/KC Home Improvement.
People came together in the Northland last night to honor the life of a young teenager. They shared memories of Jaden Roker.
Jaden was a very funny, kind person. He was very much a lovable friend.
Beautiful, loving child who laughed well. He was so kind.
Jaden was just 13 years old. He disappeared back in February. Officers found his body last week in a pond in Gladstone. KSHB 41 News reporter Megan Abundis shares more memories of him.
Those that knew him say he was bright, creative, and genuinely kind to everyone he met.
Would you guys like to sign the poster?
A part of Gladstone joined together through heartache.
Sometimes there's no words, and we just have presence.
There's people in the community that care.
From over the pond, the question of why circled back.
It's just hard to know that this is where Jaden was found.
This feels very different because of the nature of what happened, and that we've been praying for him and lighting candles. We had a prayer vigil for the weeks leading up, not knowing. So I pray and hope that this brings some sort of closure.
But everything I've been doing to try to find him and now just honoring him.
Zeke met Jaden at the bus stop.
Because he was my best friend ever.
It was a quick, easy bond.
Jaden was a very funny, kind person. He was very much a lovable friend.
Beautiful, loving child who laughed well. He was so kind. There's no reason for a tragedy like this.
I hope you all remember Jaden, especially in your heart.
Jaden's light, that we know that this was his final place on earth, but that there's this light that we can carry with us.
In Gladstone, I'm Megan Abundis, KSHB 41 News.
Students also left flowers and cards on Jaden's locker at Northgate Middle School. There's also a display case to honor him. The middle school's principal says Jaden had an infectious smile that radiated throughout the building. The school's focus now is supporting his family and friends.
Getting you out the door this morning, we don't have any major issues, but there is a report of a vehicle fire on the Kansas side of I-435, specifically northbound past Parallel Parkway. It's off to the right-hand side. We're not seeing any smoke. We're not seeing any flames. However, that is what's being reported on our traffic system. So as you head out the door this morning and your commute takes you in the area of I-435, once again on the Kansas side northbound, and you're going toward Parallel Parkway, just be aware that if you see some flashing lights, that's what's going on. They're handling that situation. Our overall wide view map looks great. Nice and clear. As the rain starts to move into our area, this is going to change. It's going to cause our roadways to change in terms of the road condition. So right now they're dry, they could turn damp, and we could see some areas of slick spots. So keep that in mind before you head out the door this morning. We're still going to be here to keep you updated both on air and online if anything changes. Ray.
Deja, thank you. Record high costs and a drought, those can be hard on their own. Local farmers have faced both recently, and their struggles are often our struggles in the grocery store. But with new numbers showing inflation easing, with prices up 6% in February from a year earlier and spring nearly here, we sent KSHB 41 News reporter Grant Stevens out to check a local farm.
Farmers are always optimistic. Next year's always better.
That optimism has been part of the Moreland family farm for generations.
You'll see the upright, that was built by my dad back in the 60s.
Besides growing soybeans for people, Moreland Farms also grows corn, stored here as silage for their cattle.
Commodity prices, weather, up, down, you name it. We've lived through all of it.
Last year, Mike Moreland saw record high costs for inputs like fertilizer, fuel, and feed.
These are all first-time mamas.
Last year's drought was pretty hard for cattle production, but we're hopeful this year is a little better.
Dry weather and high costs didn't just hurt livestock.
Our crops suffered. Our corn was off quite a bit. Beans were even a little worse.
But there's good news this year.
This trailer is full of food-grade soybeans ready to be hauled off to the market, which this year is paying better prices.
And fertilizer prices are slowly creeping down.
We're hopeful that this year will be more normal.
Normal is relative. Costs are still high.
It won't make up for all of it. You never can make up for a short crop, you know, but we are thankful for the higher commodity prices.
There's always greener pastures, but Moreland's found his.
I feel very fortunate to do what I do what I love.
Grant Stevens, KSHB 41 News.
Team USA advanced to the quarterfinals of the World Baseball Classic late last night. After beating Colombia, they won 3-2 and will now play Venezuela on Saturday. Mike Trout led the team with 3 hits last night. The Angels center fielder drove in all 3 runs for Team USA. Team USA finished 3-1 in pool play, but they'll now face an undefeated Venezuela team. That team also has a lot of Major League Baseball players on it, including our very own Salvador Perez from the Royals. This is a picture of Salvi in his uniform. The Royals tweeted out last week. That game is at 6 o'clock Saturday night in Miami. Speaking of the Royals, 2 weeks from today is opening day at the K. March 30th, the Royals will take on the Minnesota Twins, and we'll be right here telling you about the exciting season coming up and what the new rules this year, the powder blue uniforms, the game day giveaways, and much more. First pitch is at 3:10 on the 30th, but you'll want to get to the K early just to see country rock duo brothers Osborne perform. We'll also be taking our show on the road that morning, and we'll be live from inside Kauffman as they get ready for opening day. Let's get over to meteorologist Lindsay Anderson. Lindsay, opening day 2 weeks from today. That's insane.
We better warm up, Ray.
I know.
We got 2 weeks to finally feel a little bit better out there. We'll see. We'll see if it happens. And opening day is always a little bit of a toss-up weather-wise, so we'll be tracking it. Out there this morning, feels decent. We are in the 50s. Might be noticing some damp conditions out there as light rain is coming down. Look at the tower out at the plaza, lit up in green. I just noticed that for St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. So it is registered as rain at KCI. You can see that in the icon. A number of 51 degrees measured there, and a south wind coming in at 15 miles per hour. It's going to get a little stronger. The winds will pick up over the next several hours, especially this afternoon and evening when the front passes through. So we're gearing up for winds today that could top 40 miles per hour. And with that comes the rain. Look at this. We've got some steady showers in Kansas City and really along and north of the Missouri River right now. That's where it's a little bit more widespread. Steady out towards the airport, Platte City, Smithville Lake, but also into Excelsior Springs and St. Joseph. A little bit more of a southerly trend or track of the rain from Lawrence, Baldwin City, and Ottawa. This is continuing to filter in towards the Kansas City metro city within the next hour or the half hour to an hour. So rain increasing. We might even get some heavier downpours in here when the front passes through between noon and 2 p.m. After that, there is still a chance of rain around, but it's really going to be focusing on the bitter cold air that surges in behind this front and may briefly bring us a window of 2 to 3 hours worth of snow. And that snow is coming down right now in Nebraska, out towards Colorado. That is the precipitation we've got to watch in the next, say, 12 hours. So notice here in our future cast that light rain continues to spread in. There might be some dry time in here off and on even by about noon or 1 p.m. but that's when the actual front arrives. So temperatures ahead of the front sneak up to 60 downtown, 56 in Lee Summit. Behind the front, Maryville, Hiawatha have already fallen in the 30s by noon. At 2 p.m., 57 Lee Summit, but KCI just shy of 40. It's going to be that cold behind the front. Temperatures dropping so quickly, and it'll eventually get to mid-Missouri by 4 or 5 p.m. Here's that little bit of wintry mix or snow between 7 and 9 p.m. As it swings through the city and into mid-Missouri, it should be weakening and falling apart. Very minor accumulations expected with this as temperatures will slowly be cooling down. So there could be a little coating on a few surfaces. Really only looks to be like maybe a ½ inch for most of our locations. That is a little bit more optimistic. So not expecting a whole lot, just a reminder of that winter feel that we're going to experience. 24 is your low tonight. 42 tomorrow. St. Patrick's Day, parades, celebrations that'll be going on. We'll have to battle these wind chills in the 30s through the day tomorrow, and there's a very small chance we could get a couple light sprinkles in here in the afternoon. Most stay dry. The extreme cold moves in on Saturday. That's only we're only at 31 with a low of 16. Finally doing a little bit better next week for the first full week of spring.
Thanks, Linz. The NCAA men's college basketball tournament starts in the next 4 hours. Then early this afternoon, the Mizzou Tigers begin their play. We hear from the team in just 10 minutes. And some men's teams will have games in Kansas City next weekend. In the meantime, we expect rain and then snow later today. You're watching KSHB 41 News Today on 38 The Spot.
love. But instead, I found a best friend, Senor Snuffles. You stole my sock, and now you've stolen my heart. Will you accept this milk bone as a symbol of my love?
More dog.
I came here to find love, but instead, I found a best friend, Senor Snuffles. You stole my sock, and now you've stolen my heart. Will you accept this milk bone as a symbol of my love?
More dog.
Don't miss out on better sleep with a new mattress from NFM. Now, all Sealy Posturepedic, CertaPerfect Sleeper, and Beauty Rest Harmony mattresses are on sale. Plus, save up to an additional $100 with qualifying mattress and pillow purchase. Our CertaLux Queen mattress is $529. Plus, instantly save an additional $100. Express next day delivery is available on qualifying purchases. And 50-month financing. NFM shops the competition so you can save. Great savings, great sleep. NFM.
The desire to create lives within each of us. From Grammy-winning producers and musicians, to NBA stars, to Navy admirals and Medal of Honor recipients, to internationally renowned artists, and beloved local muralists, Paseo graduates have been creating their own success, their own history, their own legacy since 1926. Now it's your time. Create your future at Paseo Academy of Fine and Performing Arts. Learn more at enrollkc.org/Paseo.
You're watching KSHB 41 News.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Lindsay Shively. It's 7:26 this morning. It's game day, guys. Both Mizzou and KU have games in the men's NCAA basketball tournament today. Mizzou up first in the southern region here. They're 7th seed, taking on Utah State at 12:40. MU seeded 7th again. And in the west region, we have the Kansas Jayhawks getting ready to play the Howard University Bison coming up at 1 p.m. Howard is the 16th seed, KU a 1 seed. We have members of our KSHB 41 team at both of those games, bringing you coverage throughout the tournament. K-State plays tomorrow. Let's go. I mean, more trains coming through parts of the Kansas City area after federal regulators approved Canadian Pacific's $31 billion acquisition of Kansas City Southern. Regulators say there will be 12 more trains a day between Kansas City and Beaumont, Texas, and people living nearby can expect an increase in noise. That merger expected to add more than 800 jobs, and it could change the way goods are shipped. Lynn's rainy day?
Yeah, absolutely. The rain's starting to pick up a little bit more across the city this morning. You could tell it's a gray start out there. The light rain a little bit more steady north of the Missouri River. So Platte, Clay counties dealing with some more of that widespread light rain, and it's going to continue to increase in coverage as this wave pushes eastward. You can see it's coming down steadily out towards Topeka and Dover. That then moves in the next couple of hours. Might notice a break in the activity as a front gets closer to our area. I have our highs up to about 60 degrees come noon. Then they come crashing down. Look at your dinner temperature. 34 degrees and a chance of snow for a couple of hours. Very little accumulation expected. Just proof of how bitter cold it gets tonight and for the weekend.
All right, Linz, thank you. Our news continues on 38 The Spot. Another update coming up at 7:56 on 41.
The help. Do you ask one of your friends?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I can fix that.
Do you ask one of the guys?
I've got an electrical guy. He's really cheap.
Do you ask your neighbor?
Yeah, I know a guy who can fix your deck. He's fixed mine dozens of times.
Turn to the Better Business Bureau to find trustworthy businesses like Horizon Lawn, advocates for seniors,
which for us starts in the 5th grade. And that is what we do. The Kaufman School has a 100% college acceptance rate for the last 4 years. We are a free, public charter school open to all students at the Kansas City Public School District with no academic requirements for admission. Enroll today at kaufmanschool.org for the 2023-2024 school year or sign up for a tour of our campus.
Allergy sufferers. Bedtime means it's time to take Zysol. Zysol relieves allergies while you sleep, so you wake refreshed. Plus, it works faster than Claritin, and on first dose, provides the same relief as Zyrtec in a pill nearly half the size. Be wise all. Take Zysol at night.
Every crime scene has secrets. Did you have anything to do with Jennifer's disappearance?
Every victim has an untold story. He was an FBI agent.
And within every mystery lies the truth. This isn't a hardened criminal. This is a soccer mom.
And sometimes the truth hides where you least expect it. This was a murder. This wasn't any accident. This is, as they say, a game changer.
The original true crime series.
Dateline.
Watch weekdays at 1 on 38 The Spot.
You're watching KSHB 41 News.
Welcome back. We want to go ahead and update you on a spike in homicides in recent days in KCMO. Police say they've responded to 7 in the last week. That includes 2 each of the last 2 days. The most recent was around 9 o'clock last night near Independence and Olive. Police say they got the report of someone lying on the street. They found someone there who had been hurt. First responders took that person to the hospital, but the victim did not survive. If you know anything, call the TIPS hotline. That number is on your screen right now, 816-474-TIPS. Kansas City, Missouri police officers also say someone stabbed a woman to death yesterday afternoon. This happened just before 2:45 on Linwood Boulevard near Euclid Avenue near 71 Highway. First responders declared the woman dead at the scene. Investigators took a person of interest into custody. Here's a look at the homicide counts from recent years at this time in KCMO. The 2 people killed yesterday bring this year's total to 33. Even before those, it was already among the highest at this time in the last 5 years. The tense relationship between the U.S. and China right now is shaping policy around the world. However, many Chinese Americans fear the tense relationship could result in an increase in hate crimes or discrimination in the coming years. As our Joe St. George reports, many Chinese Americans want you to know their story as well, which may be very similar to yours.
If you turn on your television nowadays, you're hearing a lot about China.
If China threatens our sovereignty,
the country is frequently mentioned in major speeches by President Biden. Just this week, a new submarine agreement with the United Kingdom and Australia was announced, in part to compete with China.
On this vote,
not to mention China is one of the few issues unifying Congress, like this recent vote condemning China for launching a surveillance balloon over the U.S. Because of all the recent stories, we thought it was worth a visit to the Chinese American Museum in Washington, where we caught up with David Uwe, the executive director.
People often ask, what does a Chinese American look like? I'm one of them.
Uwe says Chinese Americans are diverse and can look like him.
I'm half Chinese and I'm half Italian.
What's important, he says, is that all Americans know that just because politics with Beijing is tense doesn't give anyone an excuse to be rude to their neighbors.
You may have issues with a country, but those people in the U.S. are as American as you.
Unfortunately, he says hate crimes against Asian Americans are on the rise. A new report by the FBI shows that there were over 700 anti-Asian incidents nationwide in 2021. His museum has felt it firsthand.
We've had a rock thrown through our window. We've had some hate speech left on an exhibit.
Part of Uwe's goal is to educate all Americans more about Chinese American history in the United States. For instance, the Transcontinental Railroad was built in large part by Chinese laborers.
10 miles of track was laid in one day.
One fear Uwe has is a return to the past. From the 1880s to the 1960s, the United States Congress greatly restricted and in many years banned Chinese citizens from migrating here. The Chinese Exclusion Act remains one of the most restrictive immigration laws ever passed by Congress.
They were not always the most welcomed of immigrants.
All of this, Uwe says, is worth keeping in mind as the political rivalry between the United States and China intensifies. Any political expert will tell you it's a rivalry that won't be going away anytime soon. Joe St. George, Scripps News, Washington.
All right, getting you out the door this morning. We are still keeping our eye on the vehicle fire that's being reported on the Kansas side of I-435 northbound, just past Parallel Parkway. You'll notice the flashing lights, but again, we're not seeing any smoke, we're not seeing any flames, and we haven't gotten any reports of any injuries. But keep that in mind as you head out the door if you're traveling in and throughout this direction. Our overall wide view map this morning looks great, nice and clear, no major issues to let you know about. So our drive time should be a reflection of that. Even though we are in the heart of morning rush hour, things are still moving along smoothly. So it's going to be 14 minutes, no biggie for Liberty. Olathe, 21 minutes, and then an 18-minute commute for Blue Springs into downtown. Lindsay.
All right, Daisha, thank you. We'll be monitoring that rain. It's just now starting to increase here in the 435 loop. A little bit more steady, Leavenworth into Platte counties right now, right over the city, maybe a few of these light sprinkles, but look what's coming our way. You can see this band is extending southward into DeSoto, Gardner, Edgerton, out towards Spring Hill. That is the rain that we'll be watching for the rest of your morning commute. Temperatures continue in those low 50s. Now by lunch, I'm bringing us up to 60 degrees, but it's short-lived. After about 1 o'clock, these temperatures plummet. They're going to drop so quickly that your afternoon commute will be down in the 40s. A few spotty showers are still possible around the area, and it's going to continue to get even colder that by your evening plans, maybe your dinner plans, we'll have to battle some snow. Snow is likely going to be around. Very little accumulation expected, but a couple wind hours worth of some snow might accumulate a little bit on some surfaces. We're going to break that down for you. I've got your Futurecast next.
Lindsay, thank you. The Mizzou Tigers play in the first round of the NCAA tournament today, starting in about 5 hours. They're making their first appearance in the tournament in 3 years. KSHB 41 sports reporter Aaron Ladd takes us inside the Golden One Center in Sacramento.
Well, Missouri Tiger fans don't have to wait much longer for their team to take part in this year's March Madness. Utah State and Mizzou playing here in Sacramento in one of the first games of the round of 64. It's a long trip for Mizzou, as well as the time difference. The Tigers talk adjusting ahead of this big matchup.
We got here a day early to get acclimated to everything. So I think we're going to be ready for sure. I mean, we got to be ready. So it's the big stage now.
I try to sleep as much as possible. The last few days I've been waking up early. Usually it's about 9 to 10 at the crib, but I'm waking up at 7 here, and I've just been up. So I try to do a little homework, watch some basketball, and just chill out. Find time to relax and get my mind right for the games.
We've been practicing in the morning all semester. We've been practicing at like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. every day. So I feel like our body is programmed to the early morning practice. But I feel like the time difference, being 2 hours behind, is actually 12 o'clock. Our body's programmed for 12 o'clock. So I feel like it's beneficial, but it's still not helping because it's the difference. But I feel like we're ready.
Time flies when you're having fun. The Tigers hoping to keep the good times rolling here in the round of 64 in Sacramento. With the Tigers, Aaron Ladd, KSHB 41 Sports.
All right, Aaron, thank you. And of course, Mizzou isn't the only local team playing today. Kansas plays Howard at 1 p.m. We'll hear from the Kansas Jayhawks around 7:45.
KSHB 41 weather is sponsored by the Kansas City Royals.
Don't let that crabgrass take hold of the yard. Get the grass pads, prevent defense, and hit them fast and hard. Come on down to the grass pad. The grass pad's high on grass.
Fur, you won't faze me. Unlike Zyrtec, Allegra won't make me drowsy.
Allegra starts working 2 times faster than Claritin. So take Allegra before allergy symptoms take over you.
And Allegra Hives works from the inside to relieve itching and reduce hives for 24 hours.
Dropping dimes, grabbing clutch boards, or my go-to, draining a game-winning 3. There are a lot of ways for college basketball stars to shine, and DraftKings has so many ways for you to cash in when they do. Experience the tournament excitement with this great offer. Action so good, why bet college basketball anywhere else?
Don't miss the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend only at the KCI Expo Center.
Doug and Arthur on the King of Queens, weeknights.
Watch weeknights at 5 on 38 The Spot.
Dogs and kids in your yard playing hard. After the fun and the sun, you gotta reseed your lawn. Come on down to the grass pad. The grass pad's high on grass.
Watch weeknights at 11 on 38 The Spot.
We believe that your home life should be your best life. Create a home that's good for you, good for your future, good for your mind, and good for the planet. Explore NFM to find what makes your house a home. Great deals and long-term financing make it easy to achieve. Big selection, big savings, big ideas. Only at NFM.
Well, it is time to grab your friends and family and start planning out your weekend fun. Deja Jones with the St. Patrick's Day tomorrow.
With the St. Patty's Day.
And the dance.
It's almost Friday. Let's go.
Almost Friday.
We have got you covered with so many fun things happening. Starting off our weekend fun, we have got the Kansas City St. Patrick's Day Parade. It's tomorrow. This Friday, this free parade starts up at 11 a.m. beginning at Linwood and Broadway, heading south along Broadway to 43rd Street. This year's theme is 23 and KC, our Irish ancestry. Kathy Nelson, the president and CEO of Kansas City Sports Commission, will be the Grand Marshal. And speaking of parades, Lawrence will be hosting their St. Patrick's Day parade as well. It's going down this Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. And then on Saturday, my 21 and up friends can look forward to Kansas City's St. Patrick's Day pub crawl and block party. It's going to be a cold one, though. More than 10 participating bars, drink specials, discounts, and of course, all of the fun green attire that you'll see. Tickets for this range between $18 and $34. Check-in is between 1 and 4 p.m. and then it goes all night long. Next up, we have Holly, the Indian Color Run Festival at Roe Park this Saturday from noon to 4. You can experience this fun, colorful festival of India with music and food and entertainment. It is free. Everyone is welcome. All ages are welcome. And they're going to be selling color packets for $2. And last but not least, Comic-Con. Kansas City is back all weekend long at the Kansas City Convention Center. Keyword here, inside. It's going to be inside Bartle Hall. You and your fellow comic lovers can experience the region's largest comic book and pop culture convention. Tickets for adults range between $32 and $86. Kids tickets range between $11 and $23. Kids 7 and under are free. Hey, that's a look at your weekend fun, ladies.
That is awesome.
Listen, here's what we're going to talk about.
Yes,
it's going to be so cold on Saturday. So best bet, maybe you want to take your plans inside. Comic-Con looks great. Yes.
Awesome. No, 100%. I mean, I feel really bad for all the things that have gone on over the weekend. I mean, at least it's going to be bright, it's going to be sunny, but our temperatures are going to be struggling so much that we're only going to be in those low 30s. Also, morning temperature at about 18 there Saturday morning. St. Patrick's Day, 42 is our high. We can't rule out a couple sprinkles that could roll in the afternoon. Only a 20% chance showing up right now. Big story is just those gusty winds. That's going to keep our wind chills running at about 10 degrees colder than what the thermometer reads. So multiple green layers for your St. Patrick's Day plans tomorrow. Coming up in my full forecast, I'm going to break down this big change coming in and when we could see warmer air. That's all next.
Lindsay, thank you. March Madness moves forward today with games starting a little after 11. K-State doesn't play until late tomorrow night. We hear from the team next in sports.
License.
It's the game show
I don't know what other clues you could have given.
that leaves celebrities
Spatula. Fake. Chili. You got it, guys.
speechless.
Not slow. Prompt.
25 words or less.
You're going to wake up in the middle of the night screaming, prompt. Yes.
Watch weekdays at 2 on 38 The Spot.
From the moment you arrive at Liberty Hospital and Clinics,
Hi, Mrs. Arnold. How are you?
we make you feel special.
This is where personalized care happens.
For all life's moments, big and small,
He's beautiful. This is where miracles happen.
you're part of the Northland community, and your healthcare providers should be too.
This is where community happens.
At Liberty Hospital, we provide the premier patient experience you just won't find anywhere else. This is where health happens.
Want to earn $50,000, $60,000, or even $70,000? Learn an in-demand technical trade fast at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. Be prepared for a new career in as little as a year, right here near home. Learn from experts with real-world experience in automation engineering, machine technology, cybersecurity, industrial maintenance, and more. Learn more at kckcc.edu.
Had enough? No. Arthritis. Here. Aspirin arthritis.
Full prescription strength. Reduces inflammation. Thank the gods.
Don't thank them too soon.
Kick pain in the Aspirin. This April, fans from all around the world will stop here to witness greatness. The next superstars in our town, Kansas City, on the clock on KSHB 41. Sponsored by Price Chopper.
Well, the men's NCAA tournament kicks into high gear in about 4 hours. Haley Lewis also has NFL football in this morning's report.
All right, the newest Chiefs touched down here in Kansas City on Wednesday, while some Super Bowl champions had to say their goodbyes to the town. Now, per reports, the Chiefs will be losing Juju Smith-Schuster, Juan Thornhill, and Colin Saunders, all players signing 3-year deals for a grand total of $68.5 million. And also late on Wednesday night, Orlando Brown headed to Cincinnati. Per NFL insider Tom Pelissero, the 4-time Pro Bowl tackle is finalizing a 4-year deal worth over $64 million with the Bengals, including a signing bonus worth over $31 million. That's the largest ever for an O-lineman. Let's go to some hoops now. Still no Bill Self sighting for the media, that is. Assistant Norm Roberts filling in again, saying that Coach Self is in Iowa. He was at practice and attending all the team meetings.
We're hopeful, and everything is day to day with him, but he if you ask our guys, he got after him pretty good today, so he was doing really well.
And Mizzou also settling in out west in Cali. For the Tigers, it's really all about showing that they can play elite basketball, and they belong at the top too.
We just hope all of our conference games, all of our preseason scheduling has prepared us for the moment. I know our players, our staffs, they're all going to work hard, work their very best.
And K-State traveling to North Carolina on Wednesday. The team has one more day of practice before they hit the court on Friday. Head coach Jerome Tang speaking with the media upon arriving at the team hotel.
We are healthy, guys are fresh, we are excited, and kids dream their whole lives of doing this, so this is going to be a great opportunity for our guys.
I know we're excited back here in KC to watch as well. Now let's go to the preps now. He helped start a football tradition which continued through the basketball season. Here's Mick Schaefer with our Hy-Vee Athlete of the Week.
Grant Stubblefield will leave school as a football state champion and a basketball state champion.
The football one, it was really special. That was the first one in school history, but I think the basketball one was just more relieving because of how much history we have in our school.
Yeah, Blue Valley Northwest, you're supposed to win hoops titles.
Stubblefield attacking. Off glass, good.
And Grant and the Huskies did just that on Saturday. They're 6th since 2013.
We didn't want to be the first freshman class in a while to not get a ring.
I know that those kids care about that a lot.
They cared about beating Wichita Heights in that title game too. The same team that beat them in the title game last season.
Just the fact that we were playing them again and how many times we played them in our history and how many times they've beaten us, and credit to them, they had our number for a while.
What a cool script to follow, and something that we talked about as a team that somebody could never take away from you. Why not choose the hardest path?
Stubblefield, who's the reigning Kansas 6A Player of the Year in hoops and first-team All-State running back, is off to play basketball at Omaha next season. He scored 22 in the state title game.
I didn't want to have any regrets walking off the court, and I just wanted to leave all I had on the court.
I'll never be surprised by anything that he does, and I'll never bet against him. He's a kid that I think is as good a point guard as there is in the country. On behalf of Hy-Vee and KSHB 41, Grant Stubblefield, we present you with the High School Athlete of the Week.
Big congratulations to him. Well, that's a look at your morning sports. Hope you have a great rest of your Thursday.
All right, Haley, thank you so much. Getting you out the door this morning, I wanted to show you the change in our overall wide view map. We're talking about a change because of our road conditions. As rain moves into our area, we're starting to see our roadways become damp, slick, wet, and right now that is what we're experiencing. This could cause some issues for us as you head out the door this morning, but thankfully it hasn't caused us any major issues. I still am keeping my eye on this vehicle fire being reported along I-435 northbound. That's on the Kansas side past Parallel Parkway. From this picture, you can't see any flames, any smoke. Hopefully that means that they were able to completely extinguish this fire, this blaze, and that everybody is okay. We haven't heard any words or updates on that, but just wanted you to be aware before you head out the door. So not only that's the one situation that we have. We have a couple of stalled vehicles, but now we're dealing with our wet roads. So keep that in mind. Add a little extra time before you head out the door this morning. Ray?
Daisha, thank you. TikTok is under fire and at risk of being banned across the United States. TikTok acknowledged Wednesday the Biden administration wants the app's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, to spin off their share of the social media platform. The app currently has more than 100 million U.S. users, and federal officials are concerned the Chinese government could pressure TikTok into handling over users' personal information. TikTok has been trying to negotiate a deal with a committee on foreign investment in the U.S. A few months ago, we asked Senator Josh Hawley if there's any middle ground.
And the only person who can force a sale is Joe Biden and the federal government, and they're not going to do that. So that leaves us, I think, with the only alternative, which is to ban it.
Hawley adds a ban on TikTok would open the door for new competitors with a greater focus on privacy. So far, there's been no evidence the Chinese government has actually accessed TikTok user data. Next week, the CEO of TikTok is expected to face the House Energy and Commerce Committee. Private companies and the federal government are investing millions of dollars in broadband expansion, which means companies are hiring. Today, Spectrum will host job fairs so it can build out its network. 3 different Spectrum locations, like this one where Charlie Keegan was at earlier this morning, have hiring fairs today. I believe he was out in Overland Park. And more employees, the company can better expand high-speed internet service. The fairs take place in Missouri and Kansas, and they'll go from 9 to 6. They're all from 9 to 6. The locations near 66th and Winchester, near 17th and Olive, and near 119th and Hardy in Overland Park. Starting pay is $20 an hour, and you can register in advance or simply walk in. Later this morning on the Today Show on KSHB 41, a new series called Today's Talker. More than a decade ago, Brenda Rivera from Georgia thought she texted a Bible verse to her friend. Well, that verse was, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit." Instead, it went to a man living 600 miles away in Ohio. He responded with a supportive text and then decided to give her a call, intrigued by the woman who sent the message. Brenda let it go to voicemail, but listen later.
He just sounded very genuine and he sounded kind of cute. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give him a call back. Yeah, the rest is history.
Wow. A friendship that started on faith turned into a love story that's still going strong 13 years later and 6 children later.
Wow, what an amazing story.
I know. That's all coming up at 8 o'clock. Look at that.
That is a movie or something.
Oh, for sure. Hallmark,
get on this. Get on that. That is amazing. How cool. Okay, we'll look forward to hearing that on the Today Show. Thanks, Rae. Out there this morning, we're dealing with the rain that's slowly building into the region. It's very light at the moment, steady to light rain. So if anything, you may need to use your windshield wipers from time to time this morning. May warrant the rain jacket too. Temperature's not too bad yet, 51. We've got a south breeze at 13 miles per hour. Looks like we're finding some stronger winds south of I-70, Osage City, Ottawa, back through Pagola and Pleasanton. Not quite here in the city yet, but they are going to increase as this frontal system, the low pressure area, gets closer to our region. So in advance of that, to prepare, you can see all these counties shaded in tan are in these wind advisories until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. And this front is getting really close to the area. Notice that it's going to bring cold enough air behind it to produce snow. The snow is coming down in Nebraska right now. We might get a brief window of time here in Kansas City for some snowfall this evening. But right now we're mainly focused on the rain. You can see those steady showers moving across areas of Shawnee, close to Bonner Springs, sliding across KCK, and just about to enter downtown Kansas City. Right on time. I talked about 8 a.m. really being some of the rainiest hour for KC, and it looks to be the case. Northland been dealing with rain for a little bit longer this morning. Back edge sliding across Topeka, so once that moves through, we might notice a brief break in the precipitation before another wave develops along the actual front. So really, we're going to keep a rain chance around all day long, but it's not going to be a complete washout all day. There is going to be some dry time. Temperatures are still about 60 ahead of the front, but once the front slides through by 1 or 2 p.m., temperatures plummet and they drop fast. 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. already in those 30s, and will be cold enough around the dinner hour where we could be discussing snow. So here's how it looks this morning. 9 a.m. that back edge slides through, but there's still going to be some pockets of moderate rain along the actual front. Here comes the snow. 4 p.m. northwest Missouri, northeast Kansas, a very narrow band, 50 miles wide if anything. That's going to slide across Kansas City. Here's 7 p.m. a little bit more of a wintry mix. If temperatures are right on the threshold, that'll of course limit any sort of accumulation, but leftover moisture on the ground could ice over, could create some black ice for your Friday morning, which we'll be watching that closely. And then a couple light sprinkles can't be ruled out Friday afternoon either. So a lot going on here. We're just discussing that bitter cold. We're going to feel that change this evening, only at 42 on Friday, and Saturday is the coldest day in the 30s.
Thanks, Lindsay.
In this job, you take your eye off it for 1 second. People can die.
Go now!
Don't think, just do it.
Everybody get her out.
Here we go.
Hey, slow breath.
I'm a firefighter, and I will always be a firefighter. Did a great thing today. It's all because of you.
Watch weekdays at 3 on 38 The Spot.
So many decisions to make in March. Popular parlays on FanDuel makes it easier to decide. Wait, we don't share milk in this house?
New customers 10 times your first bet. Just bet $20 and get $200 in bonus bets.
Who do you turn to for trustworthy help? Do you ask one of your friends?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I can fix that.
Do you ask one of the guys?
I've got an electrical guy. He's really cheap.
Do you ask your neighbor?
Yeah, I know a guy who can fix your deck. He's fixed mine dozens of times.
Turn to the Better Business Bureau to find trustworthy businesses like KC Real Estate Buyers, Midwest Movers, and Pristine Contractors.
The doctor will be in to see you shortly. Hi.
When you see things differently, you can be the difference. Capella University looks at education differently. Our FlexPath learning format lets you set deadlines and earn your nursing degree on your schedule. Make your difference with Capella University.
Don't miss the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend only at the KCI Expo Center.
My gut feeling is this is the tip of the iceberg.
You want to know what we care about? We care about the truth.
Watch Law and Order SVU weekdays at 4 on 38 The Spot.
You're watching KSHB 41 News.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Lindsay Shively. It is 7:56, and first round of the NCAA men's basketball tournament begins today. We know a lot of local basketball fans like me excited because both KU and MIZZOU play today. Let's start with Mizzou, Southern Region. Tigers are seeded 7th, and they'll take on number 10 Utah State. That game, that is in Sacramento, and it starts at 12:40 p.m. You got lunch plans, Tiger fans. Next up in the West Region, matchup between KU and Howard. Jayhawks seeded 1st, Bison 16th. This tip-off is at 1 p.m. It's basically at the same time as the Mizzou game. Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa. So we don't know. We are still watching to see if head coach Bill Self will be on the sidelines after he had a heart procedure during the Big 12 championship. We are wishing him the best. We will see what happens at the game today. Deja's watching some issues on the roads, too.
Absolutely. The first issue I'm seeing is a multi-vehicle crash along 71 highway, specifically northbound, just past 22nd Street. You can see it's actually in the middle lane as crews are working to move it off to the right-hand side like they did with the first portion of this crash. But people are making their way past this. It is going to cause an impact. Just keep that in mind as you head out the door. We're also seeing a little bit of a slower go than what we'd like to see for I-435. This on the Kansas side, northbound past Parallel Parkway from a reported vehicle fire. No flames, no smoke that you can see at the moment, but keep that in mind as you head in that direction. Linz?
And time to use your windshield wipers a little bit on your way into work this morning. That steady light rain sliding through the metro right now. It's been a little bit more consistent in the Northland, just now picking up south of the Missouri River. The back edge of this first wave of rain moving across Topeka. Another round possible this afternoon as a cold front moves through. Frontal passage between noon and 2 p.m. Once that happens, temperatures are dropping and we could get a little snow around the dinner hour.
All right, Linz, thank you. That's it for us. We'll see you with your next update coming up at 8:26 on KSHB 41.